Good morning, viewers. Called Bihira Mediatrics, Byaruhanga. I work with Uganda Catholic Medical Bureau. Today, I'm here to talk to you about malaria. Malaria is spread from one person who has the malaria parasites in the blood to another person. It's not like Ebola, it's not like COVID, it's not like that you get in contact, There has to be something to transmit it, to carry it. So if I'm here and I have malaria and a female mosquito, Anopheles mosquito bites me, it sucks the blood from me, which has got malaria parasites, and it goes to the next person. Then that person will get malaria. So that's how malaria is transmitted. Because people are going to start saying, so if I touch someone with malaria, will I get malaria? No, you cannot get malaria by mere touch. But if you have that person in the house who has got malaria and you don't know, the mosquito will come, for it will not decide which person to bite. It might bite everyone in what? In the house. So meaning that if you have one person, you can actually get, if you have 5 people in the house, you can all get malaria. Then the other people that are at risk, other than the pregnant women and the children below 5 years, and the people living with the underlying problems, I mentioned HIV, diabetes, and other diseases. The other people are people who come to our country, the travelers. People who come here, they should also be mindful that they are likely to get malaria. Even us who travel to different parts of this country, because in Uganda, especially northern Uganda, I'm talking of West Nile, I'm talking of Acholi region, I'm talking of Lango region. Eastern Uganda, I'm talking of Teso region, Busoga. Those areas have got a lot of malaria. So if you are traveling, if you are in Kampala and you are traveling there, be mindful so that as we shall talk later about your prevention of what you are supposed to do when you get there. Well, signs and symptoms of malaria are in 2 forms. One form is mild symptoms. Those we would not call so acute. Then there are those that are acute and very, very severe. So the mild ones normally is what we call fever. And I think every Ugandan, every other day somebody complains of fever. So, but it's not that every fever is what is malaria. So if you have the fever, you've got a headache, you've got chills, you are shivering, those are mild signs and symptoms of malaria. But please don't diagnose yourself and say, oh, I have malaria, let me start taking medication. Let me rush to a drug shop to buy medication. You rush to a health facility and they take off your blood and they test to be sure that you have the malaria parasites. Then there are what we call severe signs and symptoms. This is when you see people vomiting, sweating a lot, and when someone is sweating, they lose a lot of fluids and they become dehydrated. You find most times it is common in children when they are brought to us in the health settings, their eyes are sunken, their skin is dry. So I know we have had a dry season, I think, for the last 1 month. People are sweating, so don't confuse the two. But if you are sweating and you have a headache, you've got joint pains, you have fatigue, you are feeling tired now and then that's an alarming sign that you could be having malaria. So any sign and symptoms, don't sit back and say no. You are advised to go to a health facility and they test you. Through the lab, kindly don't go to drug shops to do self-medication. Okay, whenever we try to avoid making prescriptions on air, because the people listening to us, the people viewing us are going to rush to drug shops to do what? To buy drugs. So if you go to a health facility, they give you drugs. But these drugs are subjective to the malaria test they have done. So if I start mentioning drugs, I know, as I say, after all, we had it from the TV, we are not going to buy the drugs. So we normally spare mentioning prescriptions on air, because we know we are encouraging people to go to do self-medication. I heard the other day the Msao talking about this drug, let me go and buy it. And that brings a lot of misuse of drugs. And when you misuse drugs, for instance, if you just have a fever and maybe you have something else, and you take antimalarial drugs, the time you get malaria, the drugs will not work because your body has picked what we call resistance. So this is why we avoid talking about drugs on air. But if you are feeling those signs and symptoms, for God's sake, go to a health facility and they test you. If you have malaria, they will put you on treatment. Don't misuse the drugs.